Okay. Chavet, today's share is a schis for Akiva Sukha ben Fega, for Zubah for Chav Basmem, Ahov Basmem, and Dodai ben Pin Pearl. Shabra Moshe. No. Oh, mine. Okay, fine. Nachman Frida. So, okay, guys. First of all, shkach for everybody turning out on Thursday night. I had my nephew made a Siman Shas, and we're all proud of him. That's 23 years old. Finished, not just doing the daf yomi, he did it in yeshiva. They would learn, spend 3 hours plus a day on each daf, and he had fahered and a lot of it, and incredible stuff. So that's where I was. Today we're going to do Chazar, I guess. We're going to try to do a little bit from what? No.
The part that we're in Zoom on Thursday? Very difficult,
The part in Zoom, that's okay.
For a reason.
We prepare, we're practicing. Okay, so we're going to start from, I believe, we're up to Velechlu B'Sukkah. It's very simple. We're going to redo what we did Thursday, but a little bit more clear inside and continue. Today happens to be super easy. When we start the new Gemara, it's mamish, no, it's just really, it's a lot of words that are just basic taich and not complicated. So, we're going to start with Chafhem Beis, 3/4 of the way down, Velechlu B'Sukkah. Basically, Velechlu, the first word is Velechlu B'Sukkah. About 12 lines up, to 8 lines up. So, basically, what we were discussing was that there is a chasen and a shoshvinon, and that they are pater from mitzvah. So we said, why can't you eat in the sukkah? Why can't you have the chuppah in the sukkah? They were going back and forth, trying to find ways to make it that they should all, the people part of the entourage and everybody should be chayav to eat in the sukkah. So comes this question, we're in the middle, and here's the question. V'leichlu b'sukkah, v'leiachdu b'chuppah. Let them eat in the sukkah and then party in the chuppah. And like we explained, chuppah means the primary residence of the chassan and kala. And like we said, basically back in the day, people would get together, it would be takas sheva brachas like it was meant, or not like we're doing now is wrong, but basically they would be there for 7 days together. Exactly. So that's the way it would be. So we're saying, okay, so if there's a problem, let them eat in the sukkah and party in the chuppah. So we say, no, in simcha el b'makom suda. There's no simcha aside from in a makom suda. A makom suda, how do you party if you can't stop for a moment, chap a drink, eat, whatever it is? It's very hard to party. So he says, okay, so let's say, let them make the chuppah in the sukkah. And now comes the Miram, and they sort of have a problem with it. Abaye says, Mishum Yichud. What's the problem? The problem is Yichud. Why? Because, and we'll see in a second. Rava says, Mishum Tsar Chasen, because it's Tsar Chasen. My benayu. What would you guys think would be the difference between Yichud and Tsar Chasen? Anybody has any thoughts? What would be the difference between if it's Yichud or Tsar Chasen? I mean, the reason why you should not put the chuppah, their primary residence, in the sukkah.
Privacy, I don't know.
That's yichud, and then there's the tzar chasen. So what could be? Yichud is the privacy. Tzar chasen, what could be? So the difference is if a lot of people are coming there. So if there's a lot of people coming and going, the difference is the shchichi shedinefike va'ayli lasam. If there's a lot of people that are coming and going, basically the way they made the sukkahs back in the day, they made the sukkah on the rooftops. So if let's say you decided to make the primary residence of the Chassan and Kala over there, the sukkahs, they didn't have like we have 4 sukkahs in general. The way they used to do it back in the day was 2 + 1, which was a tefach. They didn't have a zag, ishmaka, like didn't have a liner, whatever it's called. Lighters. They didn't have lighters, canvas. There's no canvas, probably not. Anyways, so it would be exposed. And if a lot of people were coming and going, then yes, you wouldn't have the problem yichud, but it would be very not geschmack for the chassan kala. So, according to Mandamar, that has a problem of yichud, there's no problem because a lot of people are coming and going. According to Mandamar, that the chassan have tsar, there will be, and I believe Rashi explains, because the chassan doesn't feel comfortable, since so many people are coming and going, to be playful with his kala. And because of that, it's not geschmack for him to be in a sukkah. Amar B'Zer says, Ana achli b'sukkah, I ate in the sukkah, v'chadi b'chuppah, and I rejoiced in the chuppah, v'kol shekain, d'chadi libai, and even more so, my heart was rejoiced, d'kavidna tarti, that I was capable of doing both. So, I mentioned this back when we were learning Tanis, this about Reb Zera, and a little bit to get an understanding of who Reb Zera was and a little glimpse into him. Reb Zera he grew up in Bavel and lived in Bavel most of his life. He always wanted to come to Eretz Yisrael. What happened was he always felt that he was perhaps not worthy enough. His Rebbe was of the idea, you're learning here, don't go to Eretz Yisrael, and he felt maybe he's not worthy enough to go to Eretz Yisrael. What happened was one night he had a dream that all his avonos were mechaper for, so he felt, you know what, that's a simon that maybe I should go now, and it's a good opportunity for me to go. And Taka, that's what he did. He traveled all the way to Eretz Yisrael from Bavel. As he was crossing over, I believe it was the Jordan River, to get to Eretz Yisrael, when he was getting there, what happened was they generally back then they had ferries that would go, but the ferries didn't come every day or every hour. The ferry came every once in a while, so maybe it was coming 2 days later. Whatever the case was, there was a rope bridge. You know, like these bridges that have like planks, and you walk and you hold on to it, like a rope bridge. Such a bridge. And as he was walking across, there was a guy who was screaming at him, "You Yidden, like you guys always you speak without thinking." Basically telling him, you said Nasev and Ishma when Hashem gives the Torah, you said it without thinking about all the requirements, and now again you're just crossing. You're not using your head. This thing could fall down. Wait a day. Wait 2 days. There's gonna be a ferry that's gonna come across. So his answer was, a country like Eretz Yisrael that Moshe Nahan didn't have the chus to go into, I'm not going to waste a second. Chalil, if something happens to me, I'll miss out on going in. I wanted this my whole life. I'm going to take the gamble, and he went across. And Taka, that's what happened, and he made it across. There were then 2 more pointers that I saw regarding him, about his chashivas Torah and what the value of Torah is. Number one of the pointers he said that basically, this is in Masechtas Eruvin, that he would learn with tremendous intensity, and especially when he came to Eretz Yisrael, he said that the ear of Eretz Yisrael clears your mind, but he learned with such tremendous intensity that he would collapse, mamash chalash, and collapse. So many times when he felt he was getting to that point, he would sit right outside the Beis Medrash, in order that the Talmidei Chachamim, whoever is coming to learn, you'd go through the door. He would see them, and he would stand up for them. And he says that you get the schar every time you stand up. You're showing schar. It says mipnei seva takum. What's the second zaken? The second zaken is talking about a Talmud Chacham. So he felt, I have no koiches to think, I have no koiches to function and learn. Let me do something, showing the tremendous chashivas and the value of what Torah is. And one more very unique thing, and again, the reason why I'm saying all these stuff is we have enough time, because the next is just going to be very quick reading. But basically, he said, also it's interesting. I think that in general, I'm going to try to implement a little bit more good. Not stories, getting an understanding of who these Tanam and Miraim were. You're learning them, you're saying their names, who are they? So he had another thing in Masechtas Brachas. He said that the schar for learning is, let's say someone comes to learn, and you can't grasp it, you're not chapping. And it happens many times. You go, you hear someone's giving a bomb shir, you don't get it. He says the schar is running to Beis Medrash. Every step towards the Beis Medrash, that's where you get the ultimate schar for it. And he says it in the Gemara. He says, Agra what's the Lashon? Agra de Pirka. The reward of the learning. What's the reward of the learning? The actual going to learn. So anyways, sometimes people go places, you don't chap, you don't hear. You already have a reward the second you walked in. You made it. What? Schar psiot, okay? That's exactly it. Okay, very good. Now we're going to see further. Tanu Rabbanan. The Rabbanan learned. Chasen v'ashashvinin v'chobni achupa p'turin min ha'tfila or min ha'tfilin v'chavim b'kriyas shema. We said the reason why they're part from all these things is because by the party they're going to be drunk, they're going to be kalas roish. You can't, and they're being mekayim the mitzvah of being mesmech chasen hakala. They're potter. Comes Rabbi Shila and he just switches one thing. Mishum Rabbi Shila amru. Rabbi Shila, he says chasen potter, v'ashashvinin v'chobni achupa chayavin. We're only talking about kriyas shema. Everything else they're all potter from. Kriyas shema only. The chasen's potter, the entourage is not, because the Iker Mitzvah is the first pasuk, and it's not so. I mean, it's difficult, but you should be able to get it together for a small amount of time and say Yishma Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad with kavana. That should be doable for the Shashvinan. Now, this is where we're starting the new Gemara. The new Gemara is going to talk about, it's a brisa, and it's a very basic thing. It's basically saying, it's going to say 2 things. The Shluchei Mitzvah or Halchei Drachim are part from the Sukkah, well, that's going to be a little bit later, and Halchei Dvar Mitzvah. And there's going to be a difference. But here we're going to see first. Amar b'Chananya ben Akavia. Koisei svarim, tefillin u'mezuzas, people who write svarim, tefillin, mezuzas, hein, them, v'tagrein, and their salesmen, v'tagre tagreim, basically it's the wholesalers and the retailers. Anybody that's involved, v'chol ha'oiskim b'meleches shemayim, anybody that's involved in meleches shemayim. Now what's this adding, meleches shemayim? La'asuya, it adds, moichet cheles, even those who sell tzitzis. Now, they're pater, p'tur, mikriyashma, minatfila, minatfilin, u'mikol mitzvahs hamurz b'torah. They're pater from all these things. Lekayim, to be mekayim, divrei Rabbi Yossi Glili, shahayir Rabbi Yossi Glili, yomer, the Rabbi Yossi Glili would say, ha'isik mitzvah, pater min mitzvah. So all these people we brought to tell you, they're all pater from the mitzvah. Now, time out. You're going to say, what do you mean? So anybody that's a sofer doesn't have to daven shachas minchamav, 9 to 5 every day, doesn't have to worry about nothing? No. It's not talking about somebody whose business is this. It's talking about somebody who, for instance, a Chabad shliach. A Chabad shliach would be the perfect example. They're not doing it for parnas, so they're not doing it to get paid a paycheck. They're going out and getting people to put on tefillin because they're oisik in a mitzvah. Technically, they would be part of a mitzvah. Let's say they were on the way to get somebody to put on tefillin. They know a guy's going to put on tefillin now. They're pater from going to daven mincha because, or whatever, kriyashma, because right now they have an opportunity to get somebody to do a mitzvah. So now, comes this next brisa. This is the last little portion. It's going to be 10 lines, but you're going to see that it's very simple. Tana Rabban, the Rabban learned. Those who are on their way. Again, this is talking about a rishus. People who are traveling in general. Petur min Sukka b'yayim v'chavim b'layla. They're pater from Sukka by day, but chav in the night. Why? Because they're walking by day. They're not walking by night. So you should go to a Sukka night. The opposite. You're traveling by night. You're pater by night. You're not traveling by day. You're chayav by day. And now we're just going to switch it up a little bit and say lidvar mitzvah. Now the change is not going for a shos. Now it's for dvar mitzvah. There you're pater whether by night or by day or by night. And we're going to bring a case that actually happened. Rav Chizda of Rabbi Bar Avuna. This case that happened with Rav Chizda and Rabbi Bar Avuna. Kihavu Aili b'Shabbos deragla, when they would go on the Yom Tovim, on Shabbos and Yom Tiv, the Beirish Gelusa, they were going to the Reish Gelusa. Havuganu, they would rest or go to sleep. Arakta de Surah, on the riverbanks of Surah. Amri, and they would say, Anan shluchei mitzvah anan upturin, we are shluchei mitzvah and therefore a pater. So now, what was the purpose of this brisa to tell you? If you think about it, we're all involved now in Hachad Dvar Mitzvah, Aisik Mitzvah, Pater Mitzvah. So it makes sense. The theme makes sense of the Seifrim, the first part, the first brisa, the Seifrim and the people who are merchants. I get it. Also the last part, Hachad Dvar Mitzvah. I get it. You're Aisik in a mitzvah. But the middle one, Hachad B'drachim, you're just traveling on the road. Why is that? Why are you pater? So Rashi says something very unique, and he says, because the mitzvah of Sukkah is what? Teishu kein teduru. Just like you would do in your home, you do here. Now what happens? He says the chsiv b'sukkos teishu kein yeshivas beisai. There's a Rashi kashem shekol hashana ein nimna b'melechas b'derech l'schayra kach kol yom ha'chag sheini yom tov lo yitzruchu hakasav l'noya. What does it mean? Just like throughout the year, you want to go on a business trip. You have a business. You're going to go on a business trip, right? So you're going to for business. So too over here. If you're on the road for whatever reason, and it's a rishos, during the year you would do it, now you can do it. Obviously, so now you could do it. And if you could do it, then you're oisik in something. Rishos, Yehoche B'drachim, you're pater from the mitzvah. And it's only talking about while you're traveling, because at night or whatever it is when you're not traveling, you should be able to find a place to stop by and be mekayim the mitzvah sukkah. Rabbi Isai, thank you again for showing up. Have a wonderful. Oh, Chazar, shkach. We'll do a quick Chazar. Tanya, thank you very much. We're going to do it quickly. Thank you, Moshe. Tanya, Amar B'Chanan Ben Ikavia. Kaisis Farm Tefillin Mezuzas, Heim V'Tagreim V'Tagre Tagreim. They're merchants, wholesalers, and retailers. And anyone who's Isaac in Melechas Shemayim, which includes Lasuye Merchet Cheles. Lasuye means to include the people who sell Cheles, which is tzitzis. Petur Mekriyashma, Minat Tefillin, when we call mitzvahs Hamurz B'Torah, the part from all the things, the mitzvahs that are written in the Torah. Like Kayim, Divir B'Segli, to be Kayim, this Rabbi Segli says, Shayar B'Segli Aimer, Ha'Isik Mitzvah, Patam in a Mitzvah. So anyone who's Isaac in the Mitzvah is Patam in a Mitzvah. Tana Rabban the Rabban learned. Ha'Chid Rachim B'Yayim, Peturim Min HaSukkah B'Yayim. v'chevim b'layla. Hachadochem b'layla, p'turim min ha-sukkah b'layla, v'chevim b'yayim. Hachadochem b'yayim avim b'layla, p'turim min ha-sukkah, bein b'layla. Basically, when you're traveling, it's only when you're traveling that you're potter. Come, this last little portion, Hochin, the Dvar Mitzvah, if you're going for Dvar Mitzvah, p'turim bein b'layla, reason being, if you're traveling by day, why would you be potter by night? Because if you have to now go find a sukkah that's taking you off your route, and that could get in the way of the mitzvah. Kiha Rav Chizda v'Rabba bar Avuna, like the story of Rav Chizda Rabba bar Avuna, ki havu ali b'Shabbat d'Raga, when they would go on Yom Tov l'Veireish Gelusa, havuganu, they would sleep arakta de Surah on the riverbanks of Surah, Syria. Amri, they would say, Anan shochem mitzvah na, and we are shochem mitzvah, and therefore we are potter. I always have a wonderful night. Shkach for coming, and we'll see you all tomorrow, Bez Hashem.